2, 1, 2. Hello. Hi. Welcome back to video number 4, I think, on this channel. Sorry that I didn't upload last week. I said I would upload a vlogish thing, and I didn't. I was in Minnesota, and then I got back on Monday. I filmed some cool videos with friends for my other channel, some Orphan Black related stuff, if you know that show. I'm really into it. Next week, a video is coming out that I'm very, very excited about. It's an I Need Some Creative Space with Ash Hardell. Woo! Ash is a YouTuber, an author, and all-around sweet, amazing person. So I'm super, super excited for that video to come out. That will be really, really cool. In the meantime, I thought I would do my vlogish thing. This is that. This is the vlogish thing. How's it going? And I wanted to talk about how I chose my name and the story behind that. Because we're still getting to know each other. This is like our 4th date. So thought I should probably just continue introducing myself before we get into some deeper topics. And also because it was a thing that really affected my mental health and something that was a really good change in my life. So here's the story behind that. This isn't directly related to how I chose my name, but this is just sort of some backstory. When I was 7 and in 2nd grade, there was a girl named Haley who was a super tomboy. Little disclaimer before I get into this story. I use words like boy clothes and boy sports and boy things, and I don't mean that they're boy things or girl things. I just mean that at the time, when I was 7, people and myself thought of these things as boy things and boy names and boy clothes and so on and so forth. But clothes don't have gender, because clothes are cloth. Anyway, this girl did all these boy things, wore boys' clothes, was just a super tomboy, the first tomboy I'd ever met, and I was amazed and enthralled and just really, really wanted to be her. So I followed in her footsteps in any way I could. I started telling people I wanted to go by Cameron because that was a nice androgynous name that I'd heard before. I didn't know the concept of androgyny yet, and it wasn't something that I chose because I thought this is what fits me. I chose it because I didn't know yet that you could my cat is here. Hi, kitty. I didn't know yet that if you were a girl, you could choose a boy name, and I kind of thought that choosing something that was a boy's name and a girl's name was fitting inside the rules that people had provided me, but still something that I liked. And it was still something that I could feel like a boy having. So I told people I wanted to go by Cameron, and I started wearing boys' clothes, and my parents were not unsupportive, but not supportive either. They were confused, but also bought the clothes for me. So I guess that they were supportive. They just didn't grasp the whole concept, which is understandable. Those were the beginnings of name change desires for me. Obviously, my name is not Cameron now, so I have not been going by Cameron since I was 7. I don't know when that changed or altered. Fumo, that's not here. Come here, buddy. My cat's name is Fumo. It's French because he's fancy. Anyway, I don't know when I grew out of the name Cameron, but I think at some point I started realizing that people were not treating me differently because of the name. I think people started saying that it was weirder that I was an 8-year-old and a 9-year-old who wanted a different name. I think 7-year-old was sort of understandable, and 8 and 9 was like, okay, we need to do something about this now. So then I retracted and was like, no, that's fine. I'll just go by my name. That's fine. We're fine. So I went by my birth name for a long time, and I started daydreaming about other names when I was probably in middle school. I wrote a lot of stories and the characters were always male or masculine and always had masculine names. So that was sort of my outlet for my name desires. And then when I was 13, I started daydreaming about having a band. I was super into the Jonas Brothers, and I didn't have a lot of other bands in my life. My mom's favorite thing to listen to is NPR, and my dad's is jazz and classical music, which I kind of jive with now, but I didn't before. So the Jonas Brothers and Disney Channel musicians were my only musical influences, because that was the only thing that I saw. So I truly believe that you had to be in a trio to have a band work. I started daydreaming about this trio that I would have. Eventually, all the daydreams got so complex, I was like, I need to name these people in my daydream. They were 2 guys. One was named Jack and one was named Daniel. It wasn't because of the liquor Jack Daniels. I don't know, I just liked those names and I thought they fit the characters that I had in my head, so that's what I chose. Jack was probably more of me than Daniel was. Both of the guys had characteristics that I really wanted, but Jack embodied more of them. Jack was tall and blonde and was dating Taylor Swift in my daydream. I know this is really weird. I didn't have a lot of friends. 8th grade was a hard year for me. I really relied on these daydreams to get me through a lot of shit, so I really made them complex. Daniel, in case you were curious, was dating Miley Cyrus and then Demi Lovato in my dream. My Disney influences were strong. Oh, that's embarrassing to admit online. Anyway, I grew out of that daydream. I went to high school, realized I was not going to meet these magical guys that I created, and sort of faded out of that desire. Jackson Bird made this video about his name change and how he chose his name, and I think this is an interesting parallel to that story that he told, because he also had this daydream of a Jackson character. He says in his video that should have been the end of the story. Years later, when he was thinking I should change my name, should have gone straight to Jackson because that was the daydream that he had before. Just like that, I also didn't go straight to Jack. There were a lot of different names I floated around first. This was back in 12th grade. I'm 21 now, so it was a few years ago, and I had just started thinking about gender things, pronouns, name. Well, not just started thinking about it, but it was the first time I'd seriously thought about it since I was 7. Floated around a bunch of different names. Jack was not on that list. Nothing with a J was on that list. There was a name that I really liked and that I thought that I might go with. I wasn't sure I would change my name at all because that idea scared me tremendously. I had a name picked out. I don't want to say what that was because I don't want people to go like, hey, that was a much better name for you, because it's a little late now. Obviously, if you know my history at all, you know that I didn't change my name. I just kept going by my birth name, and I decided that it was too soon and too scary, and I was not going to do it. Fast forward a bunch of years, well, relative to my lifespan, a bunch of years, from 17 to 21. A lot of conversation happened in that time, a lot of pondering my gender and pronouns and names and all sorts of stuff. But eventually, a couple months ago, in March, I started very seriously thinking about what I might want to do. This is kind of going to make the video a lot longer if I go into why I chose my name, or rather why I chose it now. Making a long story very, very short, I am in a really good place with my eating disorder, and I finally, earlier this year, started asking, this can sound really cheesy, but I started asking, who am I beyond my disorder? What do I actually like to do? Do I like to exercise, or do I just do that for mental health stability reasons? Do I like to bake? Do I like this food? Do I like that food? Do I like being more masculine? As I explored this, I realized that I liked being a lot more masculine. And that made sense, but I had been suppressing it for a very long time. Fast forward from January to April, a lot of discovery. Sounds so cheesy to say discovery, but it's true. A lot of self-discovery happened in that time. Then in April, I went to Minnesota. This is why I'm filming this video now, because I just went back to Minnesota, and it was this weird parallel. But in April, I went to Minnesota, and it was my grandmother's 90th birthday party. And there was just so much gendering going on. Not just in terms of she and her and all sorts of stuff, but just in terms of treating us a little bit differently based on our perceived gender. Saying things like, you go girl, or you do this girl, or things like that. I don't know, it's just a difference in speech. In my friend group, people knew me as this androgynous person. Regardless of my name or my pronouns, people treated me the way I wanted to be treated, basically. Or for the most part, at least. In Minnesota, that varied a lot, and a lot of that felt like it had to do with my name and how I was being perceived. There was one particular moment where we had to write our names on name tags, and I just remember thinking, this isn't right. You also had to write your relationship to my grandmother, and so writing granddaughter it did not feel right. So I came back, and in the Denver airport, I sent my first text to a couple different people saying, hey, I think I'm finally ready to explore name change. I just saw, like, this is what I want to be. I want to have that bravery that I really desired back in 12th grade that I had to pass over. Want to have that now and hold it and embrace it. That's kind of it. In terms of why I chose Jack, it just started with J. And I chose it real damn quick. I probably, from the time I sent that text in Denver to the time I was going by it on Facebook and with everyone that I knew in my daily life, that was like a month. I've gotten attached to this initial, and because I like it. There's A's and all, I kind of talked about this in my intro video. There's A's in all of my names near the front. I like that vibe, I guess. It ended up being really simple. I thought about it for years, and then I made the decision in a couple days. My middle name is Casper, for those of you who don't know, with a K. That was a decision made by someone I know. I really liked that idea, but I didn't want to change my initial So I made it my middle name, because my old middle initial was K. My initials are JKMB, and my name is Jack Casper Mason-Brase. Yeah, cool. So that's it. So thanks so much for watching and listening to me ramble again. Hope you liked it, or at least thought it was mildly entertaining. Next week is the video that is really, really cool. It's the Ash Hardell video. I'm so excited. So excited. Thank you so much for watching this. I hope it was good, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Bye. Alright, Fumo. Ready, buddy? Good boy.